Croatia, Bulgaria, Albania, Montenegro. 4 countries, 4 completely different realities for expats. One has multiple and flexible paths for EU residency. Another let you retire comfortably on just $1,035 a month. And a third has unbelievable real estate options. The twist? The country everyone assumes is the safe bet is not always the smart one. Which of these 4 actually protects your money and your lifestyle? You've probably heard the reasons to move to Croatia or Bulgaria. But have you actually checked what Montenegro and Albania are offering right now? This is not about which beach looks prettier. All the 4 have stunning coastlines. It's about where your money and residency actually go further. Different risks, different rules, different rewards. I spent years helping hundreds of non-EU expats figure out the smartest place to live in Europe, and today I rank them in each aspect. For making this comparison, I choose 4 cities from these 4 countries that have similar size, so has to compare apples to apples. Additionally, all these cities raised huge interest from our viewers. In Albania, Durrës. In Bulgaria, Burgas. In Croatia, Split. And in Montenegro, Podgorica. Now let's go for the first factor, which is literally something that your life depends on it. Healthcare infrastructure. Healthcare is often where a cheap move abroad turns into an expensive mistake. For retirees, the risk is not only financial, it's whether you can actually get proper treatment without long waits or outdated systems. Across these 4 countries, the differences are sharp. Croatia takes the lead. The country has a private hospital accredited with the GCI Golden Seal of Approval. An international standard for medical quality is located in the capital, Zagreb. Split itself also has multiple renowned institutions. For expats, this means appointment in days, not months, English-speaking staff, and outcomes tracked to global benchmarks. A Croatian told us about healthcare. Open quote. Dermatology, dental, and eye surgery are all a big thing in Croatia as medical tourists because our private clinics are really good and not that expensive compared to the rest of EU. And if you compare to American prices, then we are really cheap. End quote. And by the way, I was thinking about making a video of the best healthcare systems for expats in Europe. If you would like a video about this, let me know in the comment section. Albania, by contrast, spends just $856 per person annually on healthcare, among the lowest in Europe. Yes, groceries and houses in Vlore are cheap, but the real cost shows up in medical coverage. International insurance averages between $5,000 and $10,000 per year, and without it, you are exposed. Montenegro is even stricter. If you get residency through property ownership, the route most retirees use, you are excluded from the national healthcare system. Public hospitals charge foreigners full price, so in practice, you cannot avoid buying long-term international coverage that will cost you a few $1,000s per year. Bulgaria sits in between. It does not have an internationally ranked hospital in Varna or Burgas, but it has decent and affordable institutions. While private care is still the safe route, there is less uncertainty than in Albania. For long-term expats, EU-backed consistency is a meaningful advantage. Here is one surprise. Albania, despite its low spending, has the highest life expectancy of the 4. That's more about lifestyle than medicine, more walking, fresher food, and family support. Ranking the healthcare systems, first, Croatia, a GCY-accredited hospital and shorter waits. Second, Bulgaria, EU stability, reasonable access to private care. Third, Albania, high life expectancy overall but more fragile infrastructure. And fourth, Montenegro, residency rules exclude you from public care. Healthcare tells us who is protected in moments of crisis, but life abroad is not judged only in emergencies. And the real comparisons between these 4 countries start to look very different once we measure the next factor. And talking about statistics and rankings, if you enjoy our data-based research-driven videos that we put a lot of work to do, I would be glad if you could click on the like and subscribe button. It would be such a great help for us. Quality of life. Living abroad is not just about beaches, it's about whether day-to-day life feels stable, safe, and connected. A useful indicator is the Human Development Index, HDI. It might not be the perfect indicator because all indicators are simplifications, but it's a good approximation to measure quality of life. Croatia leads here. Its HDI rank is 39 globally, backed by a per capita income above $21,000. In Split, this translates into reliable infrastructure, dependable public services, and safe streets. Average life expectancy is quite high, with low crime, an unveiled crime index of just 26, among the safest in Europe, reinforcing a sense of resilience and predictability in daily life. Albania is the outlier. Its HDI ranks at just 71 globally, the lowest of the four. Its income per capita is only $7,570, also the lowest among the group, yet Albanians have the highest life expectancy. Safety is acceptable, though not as strong as Croatia. Albania crime index stands around 46, meaning petty theft is a bigger issue, even if violent crime remains rare. One concern about Vlore is that since its economy relies heavily on tourism, during winter it might be a ghost city, but that's not really the case. This is what a local resident told us. Open quote. Vlore is the third biggest city in the country. Apart from summer tourism, specific business, most other things will keep running. It will just be less frequent and less crowded. Luckily, the restaurants closed for the winter are the ones likeliest to be tourist traps. End quote. A cool thing about Albania is that, if you are American, you are really welcome there. It's one of the 8 countries in Europe where Americans are the most welcome. Montenegro holds an HDI rank of 48th, with income per capita around $11,500 per year. Podgorica, its inland capital, is modernizing, but life expectancy is 77.1 years, below both Croatia and Albania. Safety is decent, with a crime index around 38, worse than Croatia but still better than Albania. You gain predictability from a capital less dependent on seasonal tourism, but overall development levels remain modest. Bulgaria comes next. Income per capita there is about $14,460, above Montenegro but well behind Croatia. Same for HDI. Life expectancy is 75.6 years, is slightly lower than its neighbors. Ranking quality of life, first, Croatia. High income, strong infrastructure, very safe, lowest crime. In second place, Albania. Their HDI is the lowest, in good part because their income is the lowest, but the longest life expectancy and lower costs, more about it soon, make it attractive. Third place, Bulgaria. EU membership, mid-range income, moderate crime. And fourth place, Montenegro. Stable, but trails on income, development, and health. Now, probably the most weighted factor of all, the cost of living. But before it, I want to announce that my new book was just released. It's the first country-by-country guide that makes the path to reside in Europe truly simple. Inside you discover how to obtain residency permits across all 27 EU countries, the fastest path to citizenship by time of residence, which nations allow citizenship by descent, and how many generations back you can claim it, and which countries are worth the wait, and which ones will waste your time. It's for sale on Amazon for the promotional price of just $12.9. Or subscribe to any paid tier of our Patreon and get the ebook included, together with all other great resources available there. The cost of living. Cost of living is often the decisive factor for retirees and long-term expats, and across these 4 locations, the gap adds up to thousands of dollars per year. Take Split Croatia. Croatia's income per capita is above $21,000, far ahead of its Balkan neighbors, and the cost reflects such higher income. For a single person, a comfortable monthly budget, excluding rent, is about $1,200 in Split. Housing pushes the total up sharply, but more about that in a few minutes. Split delivers strong lifestyle benefits, but financially, it sits in the luxury bracket. This is what a local told us about life there. Open quote. I would say that Split is an amazing place to live if you are not in town center in summer period when it's too crowded. We have really nice weather and so much sunny days. We still wear short sleeves during the day. I would say that the main downsides are expensive rents and groceries, which are even more expensive than in Italy or Germany. End quote. Vlore, Albania, is the opposite. One-bedroom rentals range from about $428 to $642 per month, less than half of what many expats pay in Croatia. Day-to-day costs are also much lower. Albania's gross national income per capita is just $7,570, and that filters through to consumer prices. On $2,000 per month, retirees in Vlore can usually cover essentials and still set aside meaningful discretionary spending for eating out, short trips, or supplemental health coverage. One key caveat in Albania is energy. Today's bills are cushioned by subsidies, but as Albania advances toward EU accession, those subsidies will be phased out. Podgorica, Montenegro has a different profile. One-bedroom rents typically range from $650 to $900, higher than Vlore but below Split's peak rates. Groceries and services are not expensive, anchored by local wage levels. The advantage is stability. As an inland capital, Podgorica avoids the severe seasonal surges that destabilize coastal markets. Burgas, Bulgaria sits between these extremes. Bulgaria's income per capita is way lower than Croatia's, keeping prices below Split. But Burgas is still more expensive than Vlore. Rents fluctuate with tourists but less violently than Split, giving expats milder seasonal swings. Bulgaria is not the cheapest, but it's consistent and delivers good quality of life infrastructure for such prices, a good cost-benefit ratio. And that's why I covered in a previous video where I talked about 4 places where you can live on $1,000 or less. Consider now a retiree or remote worker with an income of $2,000 per month. In Vlore, he pays manageable rent and still has substantial discretionary income. In Split, base costs near $1,200 before rent can push them into deficit, especially in peak season. Podgorica narrows the gap. $650–900 rent is considered affordable for a budget of $2,000. In Burgas, it's similar. $2,000 buys moderate comfort, while pricier than Albania, you still would be able to save around $300 per month. Ranking the cost of living today, Albania comes first, meaning it's the cheapest, with Vlore offering the lowest rents and everyday prices. Montenegro is second, Bulgaria is third, and Croatia is by far the most expensive. Split strains budget fastest, with highest living costs amplified by tourist season and EU tax structures. These differences show where your income stretches and where it does not, and the moment you look at the next factor, the surprises are even greater. Property markets and the ownership maze. Property often becomes the trickiest part of moving abroad. Prices range from €1,284 per square meter in Vlore to €5,885 in the best parts of Split. But headline prices tell only part of the story. Ownership rules, transaction costs, and market stability matter just as much. Croatia illustrates this clearly. Split has one of the region's most sought-after markets, known for protecting capital rather than delivering big returns. Apartments can be purchased directly by foreigners, but land is far more restricted. Non-EU citizens need Ministry of Justice approval to buy urban plots and are buried entirely from forest and protected coastal zones. Approvals can take months, sometimes with no resolution. Add Croatia's steep transaction costs, agent commissions, notary fees, transfer taxes, and capital gains levies, which can push closing costs up to 10%. That means a €200,000 apartment can really cost €220,000. Albania is the opposite. Entry costs are the lowest, around $1,284 per square meter in Vlore. Laws appear open on the surface, but coastal properties within 200 meters of the shore requires a local registered company. The larger risk is currency. Albania uses the lek as a currency, so rental income in euros can lose value by the time of sale if the lek weakens. Lifestyle buyers are drawn to low upfront costs and strong holiday rental demand, but for long-term investors seeking euro stability, risks are real. Local told us about the real estate there. Open quote. First and foremost, go to a lawyer, one of the big firms in town. They will take care of everything and will cost you around 500 to 1,000 euros, but totally worth it, as you won't have to deal with local administration, verify documents, etc. End quote. Montenegro is the most permissive legally. Podgorica allows non-EU citizens to buy apartments, houses, and urban property outright. Just agricultural land has some restrictions. More striking is performance. Montenegro recorded 20.8% annual property growth in 2024, among the highest in Europe. Forecasts expected continued growth of 3 to 7% annually through 2029. Podgorica benefits from steady rental demand compared to tourist-heavy coastal areas, keeping volatility lower. Just like Montenegro, Bulgaria lies between the extremes of Croatia and Albania. In Burgas, prices sit higher than Albania's, but well below Croatia's. Appreciation is gradual, functioning has a safer midpoint option. Foreigners can buy apartments directly without complications. To buy land, non-EU citizens must use a company structure, similar to Albania's coastal rules. EU EEA citizens, however, are exempt. Rental prospects hinge largely on summer tourist flows along the Black Sea, but without the extreme swings of Split. For cautious buyers, Burgas offers balance, transparent systems without sudden shocks, and Bulgaria has some of the most attractive real estate prices in Europe. If you are considering buying property in any of these countries, I strongly recommend hiring a reliable local lawyer. It's the safest way to protect your investment. Subscribers to my Patreon get exclusive discounted rates with trusted local lawyers, plus other valuable perks. It's a great way to save money and avoid mistakes. Our ranking for property opportunities and regulation is: first place, Montenegro, direct ownership rights and rapid growth. Second place, Croatia, stable EU market. Third, Bulgaria, with a good cost-benefit ratio. Albania has the lowest entry prices, but the risks require an extra caution. But property markets answer only half of the expat puzzle. The ability to purchase does not mean the ability to stay, and for this reason, the next factor is the one that might decide everything. How easy or difficult is to obtain residency and freedom of movement. Residency rules determine how far your life abroad can stretch, whether you are confined to one country or gain access to an entire continent. For non-EU citizens comparing Croatia, Albania, Bulgaria, and Montenegro, the contrasts are sharp. Some programs demand high income or capital, others are accessible with modest pensions. Croatia is selective. Although an EU member, its system is far from easy. The digital nomad visa requires proving a monthly income of at least €2,870 per month, which is approximately $3,050. Alternative residency routes exist, temporary permits through property or employment, but renewals are rigid and permanent residency takes years of extensions. Croatia effectively filters out applicants without high documented income. Meanwhile, Bulgaria has replaced its golden visa with more traditional residency pathways. The fast track to citizenship through investment is gone. Today, non-EU citizens can obtain long-term residency as a pensioner with sufficient income or by investing over €300,000 in property. Inside the European Union, Bulgaria has some of the most flexible and lowest thresholds for residency. Albania instead creates accessibility through income proof rather than investment. Its retirement visa requires just $1,035 per month in pensions or steady income, one of the most attainable thresholds in Europe. Residency permits are renewed annually and can lead to permanent residency after 5 years. But Albanian residency does not extend beyond national borders. It grants only the right to stay in Albania itself, offering no EU mobility. For retirees or remote workers on modest pensions, it's realistic and affordable, but limited in reach. Montenegro combines simplicity with hidden drawbacks. Residency can be obtained either by purchasing residential property or depositing a minimum of $3,950.5 in a local bank account. On paper, this looks easy. Small savings or a condo suffice. There are plenty of apartments available to rent for €600 or less, even in the capital. But the critical detail is healthcare. Property-based residency explicitly excludes coverage under the national healthcare system. Permit holders must purchase international private insurance that might cost thousands per year. Montenegro also offers no EU mobility through this residency, leaving expats bound to the country alone. Let's make a direct comparison. A retiree with $1,035 per month pension qualifies smoothly for Albania, but is locked out of Croatia, which gives you access but sets much higher income hurdles. Montenegro offers quick formal residency, but be aware that you need private insurance. Residence ranking? First, Bulgaria, fastest and most strategic residency requirements, with multiple pathways. Bulgaria is among the 3 easiest countries in Europe to obtain temporary residence, as I ranked in another video. Second, Albania, with a low entry barrier, low requirements. Third, Montenegro, and in fourth is Croatia due to their more strict and higher income rules. Residence is the final pillar along healthcare, cost of living, quality of life, and property markets. With all 5 categories examined, the only question left is, which of the 4 countries is the best for you? The final ranking. Each country do well in one category but falls behind in another, creating 3 distinct profiles. Croatia leads on healthcare and institutional quality. It has the best private healthcare and the highest HDI. But these advantages come at a steep price. The most expensive of all 4 places we discussed. For expats with high income or deep savings, Croatia is the premium option, but it might drain resources too quickly. Vlore, Albania, is the mirror opposite. It stands out for affordability, comfortable living on just $1,035 per month, property entry as low as €1,284 per square meter, ultra-fast internet, and the region's highest life expectancy, 79.6 years. But Albania is still a developing country, something that brings plenty of opportunities, but also more instability and worse infrastructure. Podgorica, Montenegro offers balance. Costs are steadier, rents less volatile, not as cheap as Albania, not as expensive as Croatia. Burgas, Bulgaria provides EU leverage and multiple paths to residency. Costs are moderate, infrastructure is decent, property security is solid, though growth is slower than Montenegro's. Final comparative profiles: retirees on fixed pension, Albania stretched dollars the furthest, if you can manage the other risks, which I might cover in a video about Albania in the future. Those who prefer to retire with a low-cost country inside the European Union, Bulgaria. High-budget retirees, Croatia offers quality of life and infrastructure, but at a premium cost. Balanced pragmatists, Montenegro mixes affordability and growth, albeit past growth is not a guarantee of future growth. But what if instead of any of the cities we mentioned today, you would prefer a place in Portugal or Greece or any other part of Europe? For you, I ranked the cities and towns to live in Europe. To check the ranking, probably the most important we have ever made, click on this video to your left. Enjoy my Patreon for the sources, charts, and maps from our videos, plus a chat so I can answer your questions. Tier 2 include my top 3 ebooks on living and retiring abroad. Scan the QR code today.